Where should I start? Mm. Before we talk about the leadership in the NBA portion and the problem that we're seeing around it, um, I gotta address one thing. You know, the definition of a team is a group of people working together to achieve a common goal, right? Right. There are two teams. I do not see that shit in the NBA, and the Ball brothers play for those teams. And that's the New Orleans Pelicans and the Charlotte Hornets. I think the New Orleans Pelicans can be more of a team, but the Charlotte Hornets, they just ain't a team. I'm sorry, they ain't. They're not what you call a cohesive unit. Like they're not team material. Let me keep it real. I remember dissing Lamelo Ball once, and I was like, on my rap, I was like, never cared about your stats. Hornets gotta suck. They out of luck. I'm not trying to diss LaMelo Ball. Anyone that actually listens to my rap, you should actually be able to decode hidden messages in those raps. Actually, what I was doing in that rap is actually giving LaMelo constructive criticism. If you even look at the end, I was saying every single time work on that jump shot, fix it craft, and fix it up. I'm talking about his shot selection. I'm talking about the things he's not so good at. The things he needs to really work on. That craft. But to really get into the portion of this point, the point is that I gotta ask a question, and I hope anyone can answer this. When it comes to the Charlotte Hornets, is Gordon Hayward, who was the max contract vet, really a leader? Is he doing what he's really paid to do? Like, because if anyone with common sense, let me tell you what Gordon Hayward is really signed in for. He wasn't signed to be Mr. I want to score every shot. Let me make it clear for y'all. Gordon Hayward was signed because the Hornets are as young as the goddamn Timberwolves. Without Gordon Hayward, the Hornets will be the youngest team in the NBA for 2 straight seasons. They'll be the youngest team in the NBA with the inclusion of LaMelo Ball. But you see, here's the problem. It's not that LaMelo is not the leader, which can be the thing because you see, Gordon Hayward was signed because the Hornets don't have a veteran presence. Let me say it again. Gordon Hayward was not signed because he's supposed to be the number one option. He was not signed to be a number one option. Let me make it make sense. And I'll repeat it again. Gordon Hayward was not signed by Mitch Kupchak and Michael Jordan to be a number one option. But he is a number one option because, of course, he was signed into a max contract. Obviously, he's going to be the focal point of the offense. That's a no-brainer. The truth is, throughout Gordon Hayward's career, he has never, ever, ever been a number one option, let alone be a leader on a team. The Utah Jazz, what role was Gordon Hayward? Role player. Was he, even when he got a starting job, what role was he? Spot up shooter. When he got to Boston, what role was he? Power forward. He was small forward at the Utah. He went to Boston. Boston played him at power forward. What was he again? He was supposed to be the one cutting to the basket, receiving lobs, That was his job. That was Gordon Hayward's job. Gordon Hayward was not much of a role player most of his career, except for when he went to Boston. Boston was when he first actually had a chance to really, really be more of a player in a system of starting. Like, Boston made him more of a starting caliber player. Because even when he played alongside Kyrie, he was starting. And he was doing fairly okay. He was not a bad player. He's not this kind of player that just sucks, but he was doing fairly decent for someone. Like, remember, majority of Gordon's career, he has never been a number one option. Most of his career, he has always been a spot up shooter. So, for Jordan, he wanted to get the next Larry Bird. What better way to get someone that can do similar, that has similar skill set, but a much, because let me say it, Gordon Hayward is a 50 cent, a 10 cent, a dime percentage of Larry Bird. Okay, is a 10-cent version of Larry Bird. That's it. He can shoot, but when you're talking about being crafty, being creative, he's a spot up shooter. Like, he's literally a spot up shooter. Now, the thing is, why am I bringing all this thing up? It's because people look at Gordon and be like, well, he was signed because he's the max. He was signed on a max contract, so of course he was gonna be given on every shot. Okay. Let me give an example of a team that went through a similar problem, but they traded to get a player to that would actually help the team for real. The Los Angeles Lakers with Lonzo Ball and LeBron James. LeBron James, yeah, that LeBron. The Lakers didn't sign LeBron because he was the max contract player. They also signed him because he was supposed to be a vet presence. Like, tell me, how many vets do you see on the Lakers pre Anthony Davis? How many vets? How many veteran minded players do you see on the Lakers pre Anthony Davis? Pre LeBron James. When LeBron get there, when there was no Anthony Davis, LeBron was the only veteran player on the Lakers with a championship DNA. And when I mean championship DNA, I'm not talking about championship DNA in someone that has been to a championship. I'm talking someone that has experienced what it's like to win and lose in the finals. Someone that has that experience on what it means to win and lose in the finals. That's what I mean by championship vets. You see, so many people will love to use the plus and minus category. But before we get to that part, let's talk about this leadership sphere. Because you see, recently, my hometown Raptors, they're struggling with that shit. Okay. How am I going to say this? The Raptors, of all people, want to get rid of a guy that can actually help their team in Kyle Lowry. And without Lowry, they will not beat the goddamn Rockets. How funny is that? That it took Lowry to beat the Rockets. But that's the guy you want to trade. And you want to give it to a guy that was undrafted, that he could have been drafted and chose, okay, let me not, because I'm going to be getting paid less. I don't get it. Now, no disrespect to Fred VanVleet, but VanVleet is a shooting guard. Okay, VanVleet is not a point guard. I'm sorry, cuz until he can prove me wrong, VanVleet is a shooting guard. He ain't no point guard. He's not a point guard material. I'm sorry, brother, but he's a shooting guard. He's a Klay Thompson-like player. VanVleet ain't it. Because What the Raptors want to do is get rid of Lowry, bring in Malachi Flynn. Good option, but if I would have said something, I wouldn't say get rid of Van Vliet, but you might as well just get rid of Norman Powell. Like, because your team is not nowhere far from the Hornets. Like, let me keep it a buck. The only difference that you have as a Hornet that the Raptors have as an advantage over the Hornets is that they're a cohesive unit and they also have a good coach. I know Nick Nurse is not the best of the best coach, but they have a good coach that's defensive minded and knows how to get the team to play defense. Like, imagine if LaMelo Ball was a Raptor. Yes, LaMelo will be coming off the G League, but at least LaMelo will be a lockdown defender by season 2. I'm serious. If Nick Nurse was coaching LaMelo will be a lockdown defender. He'll be shutting down everybody on the other team more than you ever expected. You think he was just doing good at being a one-on-one defender? Nope. Nick Nurse will fire up LaMelo to be a lockdown defender. But anyways, this is really important because I now really say, what is it like? What does a leader really mean? A leader is someone that can take a responsibility and really take action in a time of need. And I'm sorry, Gordon Hayward ain't that guy. You see, here's the thing. Off the court, Gordon Hayward is a leader. On the court, he's not. Like, he's that guy that he will give you tips when you're off the court. He'll be giving you tips and be like, hey, yo, you know what? This is what you can do wrong. But on the court, he's not a team player. And I can't blame Gordon. Like I've said from the jump, Gordon has never, this is the first time in Gordon Hayward's entire career he has ever been the number one option. And this is the first time in his entire career where he has to lead a team. Imagine being the team leader. Now you have another team leader in a rookie, and now you're supposed to be the number 2 option. What are you doing not do? Because here's the thing. Here are the number 3 options that are the best for the Hornets to win. Number 1 option obviously got to be LaMelo Ball because he's the only one getting the team going. He's the engine. Number 2, of course, we already know Scary Terry. As sad as I am to say it, Scary Terry is the best number 2 option. Number 3 option, actually, number 2 option got to go to Gordon. Number 3 to Scary Terry, but they can, both Gordon and Scary Terry can switch up for 3 and 2. Who cares? But the point is, you wonder, where's the number 4 option? Who is Miles Bridges? I just feel like Bridges, he ain't gonna get that much touches. Like, his job is just to catch lobs from LaMelo, dunk that shit. That's it. And you know, see, here's where Vernon Carey and Nick Richards can come along. The problem with the Hornets, and I'm sick of people always trying to bring this narrative. Oh, they need to trade for like a Boogie Cousins, Blake Griffin, and they have all those players they're trying to trade for in the 2 centers that he have. Vernon Carey Jr., a stretch big that can actually hit you with the rebound, that can rebound the ball, post up, and do what a center can do. But you want to know his weakness? Yes, his defense still needs work, but you know, just like James Wiseman, Vernon Carey is a project. He's that kind of guy that he will be a project. Now, apart from Vernon Carey, Nick Richards, on the other hand, he's actually a great compliment to LaMelo. If you're talking about someone that can catch lobs, someone like a Blake Griffin, a young Blake Griffin. a young Andre Drummond plus Blake Griffin, you have Nick Richards. All the people that people are suggesting the Hornets to trade for, they have that in their two centers that they drafted. You literally got two centers from the draft. You literally had one of the greatest draft nights in your entire franchise history, and you're gonna get rid of that for who? For Andre Drummond, that might be a 1 year rental, or Blake Griffin or Boogie Cousins. No disrespect to Boogie Cousins. I will prefer Boogie Cousins, but I feel like before I really recommend Boogie Cousins, I want to see what Vernon Carey can do with a playing time of like 20, 30 minutes. I want to see what Nick Richards can do coming off the bench to help the team. I want to see them alternate at times where we will see either one start, because I want to know who's the better fit. Because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Vernon Carey's the better fit with LaMelo." I'm like, "Oh, Nick Richards is." I just feel like until I can see both of them start and alternate starts, I will not get to understand them when they're playing along until they're playing alongside Melo in the starting lineup to see who really fits LaMelo. Because yes, LaMelo and Miles Bridges perfect fit. They should be starting more. Borrego got to start with the 2-3 zone, zone D, and all that. Now, to now bring this to a comparison of leadership. Remember when I was talking about how Gordon Hayward's leadership kind of is not a fault? Let's see. I'm going to compare Gordon to someone that's a real leader. He loves to keep it real. My dog, Draymond Green. Mr. Get your bitch ass out of here. You know, he's always getting ejected. That's his problem. What I love about Draymond Green, he keeps it real. He's not going to sugarcoat nothing. He's going to keep it real. He loves to keep it real. And he ain't going to hide nothing from you. He's going to tell you how it is. Draymond is that father that I always be like, listen, son. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. Hey, yeah, you ain't shit yet. You got to keep improving. That's Draymond Green for you. The reason I'm bringing this because we already talked about Lowry and Van Vliet and how I feel like Lowry is the better leader over Van Vliet. But now let's talk about Curry and Draymond. You see, LaMelo's career kind of resembles Curry. Anyone that understands Curry, if you notice that it's not until they started building the team around Curry that the Warriors started winning. But you ever notice that LaMelo's career resembles Curry because Monte Ellis was Tay-Bay before there was Tay-Bay. Before Tay-Bay was known, we already had Tay-Bay in the Golden State, in Monte Ellis. Always chucking up stupid shots, always thinking he's Curry and doing everything every fucking shit he can do. And next thing you know, Monte Ellis got his ass out the team. They built around Curry. They got him Draymond and Clay, and it was raps from there. And then they got Mark Jackson. And those are the three key moves that got the Warriors on a winning track. But the only thing is, Steve Kerr inherited the team. But if you go on Wikipedia, they make it seem like Steve Kerr was the one who did all the heavy lifting and got the Warriors the ring. Come on, man. Mike Jackson won them at least one ring. He won them one ring. 3 moves got the Warriors on a winning track. Getting a new coach, building the team around Curry, and getting Draymond Green in the second round. Those 3. Draymond was a good leader because he was the one who led the Warriors. You see, as much as Curry is supposed to be a franchise player and leading the team, the reason why I have to bring this up too because if you closely take a look, the Hornets have the players to do what they need to do. But this now brings me to someone that could lead the Hornets, but I don't feel like the Hornets really technically needs him. Because a lot of people are like, oh, the Hornets they have a problem with rebounding. Their real problem, their real problem is perimeter defense. You have a team that's running 2-3 zones. You know 2-3 zones is so weak to 3-point shooting. You run a 2-3 zone against a Warrior squad that they have lethal shooters. Imagine what would happen if Clay was on the team. Imagine if Clay was playing that game. They would have been getting blown out from the first quarter. And LaMelo won't be able to save them. Yeah, Clay is out, that's it. Imagine if Clay was there. LaMelo will have to do the heavy lifting. And Clay will be the one guarding LaMelo. Trust me, when the next season comes and the Warriors, mark my words, when the next season comes and the Warriors and the Hornets play again, the person that will be guarding LaMelo will be Klay Thompson. Watch. If it's not Klay, it's going to be Curry. But I'm not going to swear to God, but just mark my words. Mark my words there. That Klay will be on LaMelo majority of the time. Okay? Okay, we're clear. But the thing is, so my suggestion, who should I see? The Ball brother that's struggling to have a coach that lets him play the way it is. And the coach that can let him play in his way is James Borrego. Oh yeah, Lonzo Ball. You see, Lonzo is not the strongest leader to the sense. You see, a lot of you are like, oh, Lonzo changed his shot, they buck break them. Well, Lonzo changed his shot because he think it was best for the team. Let me keep it real. The thing with Lonzo is that he's a team player to the point that he will do whatever it takes to help the team win. And if that means if that means it is to sacrifice something from himself, he will do it. You know, Lonzo's character reminds me of Tim Duncan. Now, this is not a comparison to Tim Duncan as a player. This is comparison to Tim Duncan as character on the team. Get it? Now, Tim Duncan took pay cuts to help the Spurs win rings. Yes, Timmy D decided, I want to win. But you know what? I'm going to take a pay cut to make sure my team wins. He doesn't care how much he gets paid, just win. That's it. That's Lonzo Ball for you. LaMelo, on the other hand, is that superstar that have that LeBron effect on the team. That if you sit his ass on the bench for just 2 minutes, the team is getting blown out in 2 seconds. We saw that with the Warriors. We've seen that with every game the Hornets have played. Whenever LaMelo comes to the bench, is on the bench, or comes off the bench, the Hornets are getting blown out or losing. And LaMelo and everybody else coming in have to play catch up. Let's look at the games where LaMelo was coming off the bench. He had to play catch up. His last game coming off the bench, he dropped 27 against the Bucks. His second game starting, he dropped 34 against the Jazz and carrying for no reason. Tell me. Because let me bring this back to a word, LaMelo's own words on draft day, after he got drafted. The reporter asked my dude, and this is according to DJ, I gotta give him props. LaMelo was asked, so LaMelo, what are you gonna bring to Charlotte? LaMelo said, leadership. And you know what's funny? This kid is showing that he is the leader of the team. And now I realize it's LaMelo's team. It ain't even Hayward's team. I'm sorry. Gordon Hayward, who's supposed to be the team leader, is not being a team leader. How are you the team leader and you ain't vocal enough? You're not even going to your rookie and being like, listen, man, this is how I want you to play. This is what I want of you. Like, you're the team leader. Or you could talk to your rookie and say, you know what? Can we make this work? What can we do? That's what a team leader does. Why am I going to bring this up? Because me being in a situation, I remember I've been in a much lower situation, in a lower team system, because the sport I played, football, aka soccer, I remember playing in a high school team and I wasn't getting the minutes I deserved. But at least I respected it. But that's not the main point, okay? The main point here is that in my first season, we had no chemistry. Like, the guy that was selected as the team leader later on was getting red card. Like, he was basically the Draymond Green of our team. Hear me out. He was basically the Draymond of the team. Because let me give you, red card, get your bitch ass out of here. This man be getting red cards, and I'm like, man, how is this guy gonna be a leader when he does not know how to control himself? But this dude helped me improve my game a lot. Later on down the stretch, like my second season in high school, 3 clutch saves coming off the bench. All thanks to the dude. 3 clutch saves off the bench. And one of them coming off a turnover. Yeah, one of them coming off a turnover. Now, you'd be like, but hold on, what the heck, man? You see, the dude was given the captain's armband in the 4th season. He played full seasons, full high school seasons. I only played 2. Because remember, and then when my coach realized I was graduating, he felt sad. Man was salty. But dude, I gotta go. Gotta get my bitch ass out of here and move on to the next level. But I know it has no relevance, but it's similar. Steph Curry's career and LaMelo's career, they're so similar that if you really look at how Steph Curry's career goes until to the time he was given the keys, we're seeing that with LaMelo. Only difference is Borrego's now starting to come to his senses a little bit. But it's funny. You know, one thing I've noticed that I really hate about Borrego is that he's not capable of critical thinking in his own self. He can't think for himself. And I'll say it again. Borrego does not know how to think for himself. Because if he can, why are you playing the same defense? Why are you trying to make your team be something they ain't? That's bad coaching. You see, number one rule, and I'm not a coach, but based on my basic understanding of something, I would really say normally one thing a coach should be able to do is understand the type of team he's dealing with. Number two, you should know the talent level and how to utilize the talent to your team's advantage. Number three, you gotta know the strengths and weaknesses of that team. Basically, you gotta know the go-to option. You gotta know that. You gotta know basically who's the real guy, who's the guy. And I know it's a learning process. Number four, you got to understand how to switch things up when things don't work. Remember, one man's meat is another man's poison. Just because it worked for the Spurs doesn't mean it will work for your team. You can't bring what the Spurs uses to the Hornets. The Hornets are not the San Antonio Spurs. Look at what Fluke Walton did with Lonzo. Because a lot of times, people don't understand. You see, Fluke Walton literally didn't believe in Lonzo. As much as all of you be like, well, he was given the keys, he was allowed to run the offense the way he wants. Are you trusted? Let me ask you, was Lonzo really trusted to do what he does? To the point that the coach would be like, you know what? Okay, the guys run faster. No. that wasn't the case. And lastly, let me address one thing that many people always use. And for all y'all that love to discredit LaMelo and how he's not that how and justifying how Borrego's not giving him enough minutes or not giving him the keys with plus and minus and turnovers, you need to understand something. I will define plus and minus for you because anyone who has known sports, if you play the sports game and you see plus and minus, you should be able to understand this. Plus and minus is an aggregated score of is basically the difference between how much your team gets scored on and your team scores while you're on the floor. So if Melo gets a -6, that's because when Melo was on the court, the other team was scoring more. But if you look at it, who had the highest plus and minus in the minus category? It wasn't Melo. The thing that you need to really look at is a lot of people need to stop focusing too much on analytics and really look at what's going on the court. You need to really look at the game and see what's not happening in the scoreboards before you start jumping into conclusion. Not being like, oh, you see, Tebe is a better fit, dummy, because Tebe makes the team better. Really? So tell me, LaMelo Ball is the same height as Klay Thompson, or an inch taller, or half an inch taller. Yes, LaMelo Ball 6'7.5", and a 6'7.5" guard is gonna be playing shooting guard. Whenever Borrego runs the 3-guard lineup, this is the lineup because a lot of you don't pay attention. Against the Utah Jazz when LaMelo dropped 34, this was the lineup. At the 1, Devontae Graham. At the 2, Terry Rozier. At the 3, it was Gordon Hayward. At the 4, LaMelo Ball. At the 5, Cody Zeller. And that was LaMelo Ball's 34-point game. But I thought LaMelo's supposed to be a small forward, right? He was playing power forward. In his second game starting, so was his first game starting. Is he Ben Simmons? But you know what? Leadership is beyond just what you see. You see, to me, I feel like Gordon Hayward, I will try and give him a chance, but you see, we can say the same for Borrego, but I'ma still say fire Borrego until he learns to critically think for himself, until he understands that one man's meat is another man's poison. Until you understand that, you need to really, really understand that me and you ain't cool, and I'ma still be #fire Borrego, #Borrego gotta go, because he's an anti-rookie. Imagine if they drafted another guy that reminds them of LaMelo Ball. Next thing you know, they want to draft the next LaMelo Ball. Oh, they're now good. LaMelo made the Hornets watchable again. And the Hornets want to throw that away. That's who they don't want to give the keys. Tebe is basically Monte Ellis in today's era. Tebe was Monte Ellis in Stephen Curry's rookie season. When I don't know his name now. Shoot, I forgot. But when the Warriors ex-coach, and the coach wasn't black, but we're not gonna get there. When he played Monte Ellis and Curry together, they still were taking them L. Bad. They were taking them L. They were taking L's bad. When Monte Ellis and Curry was starting, they were still taking L's. Because the backcourt was too undersized. Curry's 6'3", Monte Ellis is 6'3". You have two guards that are about the same height, the same weight, and you expect them to play good, like they're gonna be getting murdered off the damn place. Like it's not gonna work. You now have multiple timelines that this is gonna be a different case. Or because like I said, Curry, like I'm seeing deja vu of what happened with Curry with LaMelo Ball. You know, Monte Ellis was given the keys, it was taking all the shots he want, and the coach favors Monte over Curry, and then sooner or later they got a new coach in Mark Jackson. They got they drafted Draymond, they drafted Clay, and it was wraps from there on. And also they got Iggy. And the perimeter defense was good because Iguodala and Clay has to defend more players, and they will make up for Curry's lack of defense. And the team was winning. They won 3 rings with that system. 3 rings with that system. It never failed. So why now would you now say you should have that kind of mentality or that type of reasoning for a leader? So, like I'll say, the question is Gordon Hayward a leader material? This is very, very controversial, but on my stance on it, it's just, I don't know yet, but I'm suggesting he's not. My suggestion is a terrible leader that's just given a max contract. But what do y'all think? Do y'all think Gordon Hayward should be out of the team? Do y'all think, who do y'all feel like, even enough, like, does the Martin twins deserve the NBA? Because if you notice, do anyone notice that every game there was no Martin twin, the Hornets have more winning record? Because even if we use analytics, whenever the Martin twins don't play a single game with the Hornets, they've been winning more games than they've been losing. But whenever the Hornets have one of the Martin twins, and even both on the team, in the team sheet, whether one of them is playing minutes, whenever any one of them gets minutes with the team sheet, they lose. Regardless of whether it's a blowout or not. Is it me or is it that I'm thinking like, y'all let me know, because that's what I observed from this game. Thank you.
Never care about your stats. Only people gotta suck. They out of luck. Every single time, work on that jump shot. Fix the cracks.